Welcome students. We have started with our first lesson, that was adaptation. From that we have seen the adaptation in plants as well as animals. So adaptation in plants including the snowy plants, another were desert plants, the next one were aquatic plants, grassland plants, forest plants, etc. Then we have seen the adaptation in animals, the aquatic animals, then the snowy areas animals, then the next one the animals which are present in forest, etc. So we will just complete this chart. They have asked you complete the following chart from your own observation. They have given over your adaptation of sharp teeth. Which animal consists of the sharp teeth? You can see the lion and the tiger. And why? What is the use of this adaptation to them? Yes, they can use to tear the flesh. Now, long and pointed beak. Can you tell me which bird is consisting of this long and pointed beak? Yes, you can write the hummingbird or the hummingbird. I don't know how you are supposed to pronounce it, but you are going to say it as hummingbird. What is the use of this adaptation for that particular plant? Yes, it helps that plant to construct the nest or to build up the nest, or also for feeding themselves. Now, what is the use of the short beak? Now, which animal or which bird consists of the short beak? Yes, you can say as sparrow. Now, what is the use of this beak to them? What is the use of this adaptation? This short beak is used for them to crack the nuts or for feeding themselves, for having their own food. Okay. Now, what is the use of the long and sticky tongue? Which animals consist of this long and sticky tongue? Not long, but frog also consists of the tongue, which is little long and which is sticky. The next one which consists of this long and sticky tongue is the woodpecker. So what is the use of this adaptation to them? Can anyone tell me what is the use of it? Yes, they can easily find up the food for them. They can easily find up any of the small insects. They can hold up in their tongue and they can eat it. Can you tell me which birds consist of this long neck? Yes, it is the stork which is having this long neck. Then what is the use of the adaptation? Normally it is having the long neck, same way it consists of long legs also. While walking to easily catch up any of the prey or any of the insects for them to eat. That is the use of this. Or you can say this is the use of the long neck to that particular stork bird. Now, adaptation for blending with the surroundings. We cannot easily spot the colorful butterflies, lizards and grasshoppers. Now you know grasshoppers, they are normally green in color. Butterflies, they are colorful. Okay. Lizards also, you know that they are sometimes they are getting adjusted in such a way in the surrounding that they are of the same color. They get camouflage amidst grasses, parts of the plants like stem, leaves, flower, etc. Camouflage means you are knowing the uniform or the clothes which the soldiers wear. Yes, they are been, what we can say, prepared in such a way that it can be adjusted in the surrounding. It consists of green color, equally it consists the color of the mud, like, so that enemy cannot find out the soldier, enemy cannot attack us. So that is called as a camouflage, and it is in the same way such as grasses. You can see the grasses color, same way the color of these lizards, grasshoppers are also adjusted. Parts of the plant such as stem, leaves and flowers. Sometimes butterfly also consists the same color. That is because their colors blend with those of their surrounding. Blend means what? It get adjusted in such a way in the surrounding that these animals look same like the color of the plants, color of the trees, color of the leaves, etc. Changes that takes place in the various organs and life processes of an organism that enable them to live, feed, reproduce, to perpetuate themselves and protect themselves from the enemies in the specific surrounding depending upon the habitat and its geographical conditions are called as adaptation. Earlier we have seen one definition of adaptation, that was the process or the gradual change in which living organism adjust themselves, the parts of the living organism or the body parts of the living organism, which helps them to adjust in the surrounding, which helps them to survive in the surrounding, was called as an adaptation. What I have told you, the second definition of the adaptation is The changes that takes place in the various organs and life processes of an organism. Organism means the living things. What happen in their body parts or in their organs, there are some changes that takes place which helps them to feed, which helps them to live. Feed means what? To eat the food, which helps them to reproduce. Now in 6th standard we are knowing there was one function or there was one characteristics of a living thing, that was reproduction. Reproduction means yes, we are generating a new living organism or new living thing same like ourselves. So that process was called as reproduction. So what does we people do or what does we do? Yes, we use our organs for living, for feeding, for reproducing, and protect themselves from the enemies in the specific surrounding. And also we also take care that we are being protected from the enemies of the surrounding. For example, if you see the lizard or if you see the snake or if you see the chameleon, what does they do? They get adjusted in such a way in the surrounding, so you will not identify that Baba here this animal is located. Frog also you can see the color of the frog is same like the soil. It is in such a way that it can easily hide up in the grasses. So depending upon the habitat means the place where they stay, and its geographical conditions are called as an adaptation. So whatever these changes which we do to adjust in the surrounding, yes, we change our living style, we change the way we feed ourselves, we see that how we are going to reproduce a new living organism same like ourselves, we protect ourselves from the environment, from the surrounding, from the enemies, depending upon the habitat, depending upon the place where we stay. This all is said to be as an adaptation. Always remember one thing, adaptation is not a sudden process. It is not just like yesterday it was nothing over here, today there is something. No, it is not a sudden process. It is a gradual and continuous change. Gradual means slow change which takes long time, and it is also continuous. The differences in the structure and the appearance of the present day animals and animals of 1000 years ago are adaptations that occurred according to the prevailing conditions. So earlier animals and the animals which are present now, there will be slight changes in them. So why these changes occur? Yes, these changes occur because this animal tried to adapt themselves in that particular surrounding. See, normally when we visit someone's place, we visit our relative's place, first day we are not going to be adjusted that much. We will avoid sitting together with each other. We will sit at one place. We are not going to operate their TVs also. We are not going to handle their remotes also. Why? Because first only we are new in that place. But as soon as the days pass, we easily get adjusted with the family members. We easily get adjusted with their children. We easily get adjusted with their equipments, and we try to use as it is our place. So this same way animals also, earlier animals and the today's animals, you can see there will be slight changes in them. So yes, this is because of the adaptation process, and it is our duty to conserve this diversity, to conserve this variety which has been present in our surrounding. So here is the last part of your lesson, that is why this classification was required. There was one question asked for you on the first page, why this living organism we are classifying, why? So we will just study now what is that part. Darwin's theory of evolution. The great scientist Charles Darwin, a biologist, studied numerous types of plants and animals and suggested that the Charles Darwin, he was one of the biologists. Biology means the branch of science which deals with animals and plants, which deals with the study of animals and plants, or the living organism is said to be as biology. He was one of the biologists. He have studied number of plants and animals. He have went through all the type of these animals and plants, and then he have decided, and then he have suggested something, that those organisms are likely to survive which can best adapt themselves to the changing environment. Who can survive? The one who can adjust themselves easily in the surrounding. That only organisms can survive, and this theory was called as survival to the fittest. Means, for example, if You are staying in Devgarh right now, or you are staying in such a place. If tomorrow for the job purpose, for any other purpose, if you there is a need that you are supposed to leave your house, you are supposed to go at some other place, then how you are going to survive, how you are going to eat the food? If you adjust them in that surrounding within few days, if you adjust with their food, if you adjust with the environment, if there is no fever, if your health is also okay, so then only you can say that you are the survival to the fittest, you can survive in any conditions. So what this Charles Darwin said, by verifying or by looking at the organisms, he suggested one thing, or he told one thing: who can survive best? The one who can adjust themselves in the surrounding, in the changing environment. Right now it is rainy. The next time it will be another next season will be the winter. If you easily adjust in that surroundings, if you easily adjust in this environment, your body will be not affected, there will be no effect on you, then only you can say that this theory is to be said as survival to the fittest. This is Darwin's theories, or this is Darwin's first principle. Now what was his second principle? His second principle was, if an organism is born with new beneficial characteristics and is able to survive, and this change is preserved in the next generation also, then this theory is said to be as natural selection. So what he is trying to tell you, that if an organism is born, suppose we take birth and we are born with some special characteristics, or we are born with some beneficial characteristic. Beneficial means which can help us later. And if this change is preserved further in our next generation, whatever my next generation will be there, if this change is carried forward within them also, then we can say this theory is said to be as natural selection. Now, classification of living organisms. So, I will just tell you one thing over here. Now, if there is a class, you can consider your own class of 7th standard. If there are 2 or 3 students of the same name, you can say any of them. For example, if you consider Aryan, now there are 2 or 3 Aryan suppose in your class. If a teacher call out name Aryan, stand up, 3 of them will be confused. Exactly, teacher is calling out whose name? So if I called out with your name as well as with your surname, that time only you will be clear that teacher is saying about this particular student. Or if I call out by your roll numbers, then only you are supposed to understand that I am speaking about these kids or this kid. So one thing you should understand, if we classify, if we first only make this all things separate, then it will be easy for us to do more study related to it. So it is difficult to study and remember all organisms in this diverse living world at the same time. It is not possible for us to remember everyone's name. If I told you to remember or recall all the students' name from the school, it is not possible for you also. Yes. So classification was required. Now why we have classified student into first standard, second standard according to the ages, so that we cannot give equal study to everyone. A 10th standard student, I cannot give the same study, I cannot tell the same to the first standard one. Why? Because the age level, their maturity level, the capacity how they are going to grasp it is totally different. Now the different scientists have studied different criteria and independently classified plants and animals. So this is not only the one scientist who have did the study. There were different scientists who have studied about this and they have classified plants and animals separately. The hierarchy is formed in the classification that starts with kingdom Animalia and kingdom Plantae. Further groups and subgroups are formed depending upon the basic similarities and differences. This is called as hierarchy of classification. So what is hierarchy of classification? So the hierarchy is formed on the classification which starts by the kingdom Animalia and the kingdom Plantae, means animal kingdom and the plant kingdom. Later these animals and plants were classified. Now we are knowing the classification of animals. Few are terrestrial, few are aquatic, few are amphibious. Plants also we know, some grow underwater, some grow on the land. Some plants, they are parasitic, some depends on other, they are producing their own food. So these subgroups and groups were formed and this part or this type is said to be as hierarchy of classification. Now, what is the binomial nomenclature by Carl Linnaeus? We will just see. Imagine there are 4 students with the name Kabir and Kiran in the classroom. If you are talking about any one of them, how would you ensure that other knows which one of them you are thinking about? If right now I am speaking about one of the student, that is Kiran. If there are 2 or 3 Kiran named student in the class, how they are going to understand whether teacher is speaking about whom right now? So there will be the confusion. We could tell the full name, that is the first name and the last name. This is similar to as binomial nomenclature. So this is same as the binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature is used to identify each organism. Accordingly, the scientific name has been assigned to each organism. It consists of 2 parts. The first part is the genus and the second part is called as the species. So what they have told you? When you are deciding anyone's name, according to the binomial nomenclature, there are 2 types or 2 parts of it. First part is the genus and second part is the species. All identified organisms have been assigned a binomial name as per the guidelines of the International Code of Nomenclature. Now, Tulsi, which we say in Marathi or which we say in English also, the name of it is holy basils. Now, this is the binomial nomenclature which was done. Turmeric also, you are not supposed to say turmeric when you are going to say in the word of the binomial nomenclature. There is some another name for turmeric. So all the organisms of the species are so similar that irrespective of the differences in the color, height, habits, they can reproduce among themselves and form new individuals like themselves. So being they are different, being their name is different, there are few similarities also among them. For example, all the domestic cats in the world belong to the same species. Cats, now you will term all the varieties of the cats which are present. You have seen now cats are also of various types. So they belong to the same species. It is the same is true in the case of the animals such as hen, cow, dog, etc. and plants like mango, wheat and maize. Now you can see over here kingdom Plantae kingdom Animalia is been classified and they have given the binomial method of nomenclature. Now dog, what is dog's scientific name? What is dog nomenclature? It is Canis lupus familiaris. What is cow? Cow is said to be as Bos taurus. What is hibiscus name? Hibiscus means jaswanda. We called it as hibiscus rosa sinensis. What is jawar called as? It is sorghum bicolor. So there are few names or there are few varieties over here. You can find out for your own interest. You can find out what is it called for rose, what is it called for tulsi, what is it called for aloe vera, etc. So one thing you can remember here, they have given you one important date. 29th April is observed as World Frog Protection Day. Many people, or for when you are going for the higher education, earlier there was dissection process. Frogs were killed for dissection. Dissection means to remove out the parts, to see the parts of it. So 29th April is celebrated as World Frog Protection Day. Killing and harming frogs is prohibited by the Wildlife Protection Act. So we are not supposed to kill the frogs and we are not supposed to harm the frogs also. I hope this first lesson is completed over here and you have understood too. If there are any doubts, please contact me, please do message me, ask me. I'll just be there for you. Okay, thank you. The exercise related to it, I will just give it to you by tomorrow or day after tomorrow. I will just send it in the form of PDF copy so that you can copy down in your notebooks. Thank you. Just revise all the answers and be prepared.